Okay, so let's dive into a pretty massive shift happening in Indian culture right now, in 2026. You see, the whole idea of what makes a role model has totally changed. We're moving past the usual celebrities and billionaires and into this whole new category of leaders. We're calling them the architects of impact.
And that phrase right there, from stardom to architects of impact, that really gets to the heart of it. The spotlight, it's just not on conventional fame anymore. It's swung over to these incredible people who aren't just successful, they're problem solvers. We're talking about the folks tackling India's biggest, thorniest challenges head-on.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at what this new role model even looks like. Then, we'll meet some of these amazing tech architects and some equally incredible unsung heroes. After that, we'll check out the builders and champions changing business and sports. And we'll wrap up with this really powerful idea that maybe the system is the real hero here. Sound good? Let's get into it.
All right, Section 1, Redefining the Role Model. So how do we even spot this new kind of leader? Well, the goalposts have moved. We're not just looking at box office numbers anymore. We're looking at really prestigious platforms, like the 2026 Padma Awards, or future-focused lists like Forbes 30 Under 30. These are the places that are now celebrating real, measurable impact over just, being famous.
Okay, let's jump into our first group, technology's architects. These are the visionaries who are using tech, especially AI, for some serious social good. I mean, India in 2026 is a massive hub for AI, but it's not just innovation for innovation's sake. No, this is tech with a mission. It's all about creating access and equity for everyone.
Just look at some of these names from the Forbes list. You've got Soham Ganetra, who's building what's called agentic AI, basically AI that can actually learn from its own mistakes. Think about that. Then there's Ritesh Singh, the brain behind India's first AI tutor, which is a total game changer for education equity. And you have Akshat Prakash, who's doing something incredible with AI translation to connect the world.
And what Akshat Prakash is doing, it's so important. He's all about this idea of digital inclusivity. And look, this is way more than just swapping one word for another. We're talking about AI that gets the feel of a language, the tone, the timing, the little nuances that make communication human. And critically, it uses the correct script. So if you're texting in Marathi, it's using Devanagari as it should be. This means someone speaking a local dialect in India can have a real-time, perfectly understood conversation with someone anywhere else on the planet. This isn't just translation, it's true connection. It's a massive leap for accessibility.
So you see the pattern, right? The common thread here isn't just about writing fancy code. It's a really deep drive to use that tech to fix fundamental problems. We're talking about access, equity, fairness, stuff that affects millions and millions of people. That's the real mission.
Okay, so we've talked tech, but let's switch gears because impact isn't always digital, right? The 2026 Padma Shri Awards really shone a light on a completely different kind of hero. These are people whose work isn't measured in clicks or downloads, but in something much more profound: decades of selfless service.
And that's such a powerful idea, isn't it? That impact isn't always digital. It's a huge contrast. One group is building with algorithms and code, and this group, they're building with pure grit, with community, and with an incredible, quiet dedication, often completely out of the limelight.
I mean, just listen to these stories. You have Anke Gowda, a former bus conductor. A bus conductor. He spent decades, his entire life, building a free library that now has over 2 million books. Then there's Dr. Amita Fernandez. She didn't just pioneer neonatology, she built a whole system from the ground up, establishing India's very first human milk bank. And Nirav Sathe, who shows us what long-term, consistent community work can achieve. This isn't a quick win. This is a lifetime of impact.
All right, so let's move on to our next group, the builders and champions. We're talking about the worlds of business and sports, where you guessed it, the definition of success has also completely changed. We're now celebrating leaders who are all about ethical growth and just plain incredible resilience. And this really gets to the core of the change in business. The old way of thinking, it was all about net worth. How much money do you have? Simple. But the new metric, it's stakeholder value. It's a much bigger, more important question. What value are you creating for your employees, your customers, your community, and for the planet? That's the real measure now.
So who are the faces of this new philosophy? Well, you have Nikhil Kamath from Zerodha. He's not just celebrated for his wealth, he's seen as a champion of financial literacy for everyone. Or Gazelle Alag from Mama Earth, who showed the world you can scale a massive, sustainable brand ethically.
And then there's Kaivalya Vora of Zepto, who perfectly represents this builders over talkers idea. Just quiet, sharp execution, no hype needed.
And this thinking has spilled over into sports too. It's not just about the final score anymore. We look at someone like Rohit Sharma and we see consistency and adaptive leadership. We see Harmanpreet Kaur and we admire her for breaking barriers in women's sports. Divya Deshmukh teaches us about strategy, and Praveen Kumar, wow, what a story of resilience against all odds. They're teaching us things that are so much bigger than the game itself.
Okay, so this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. How do we connect all these dots? We've got AI developers, a former bus conductor, entrepreneurs, athletes. What's the common ground? Well, it all comes down to a new way of looking at things, a new framework we're calling the maturity matrix.
And it's pretty straightforward, really. The new role model is measured against 4 key things. First, competence. You've got to be good at what you do. Second, character. People have to be able to trust you. Third, scale. Your idea has to have the potential to impact millions. And finally, sustainability. You have to build something that lasts without hurting the future. You need all 4 of those to really be an architect of impact.
And this right here is probably the single biggest takeaway from our whole conversation. We've gone from hero worship to system worship. Think about that. We're not just fawning over a single charismatic person anymore. We're admiring the incredible, sustainable, and scalable systems they build. Systems that keep creating value long after the person has moved on.
So that leaves us with one last question to think about. If the new role models are architects of systems that can truly change the world, and the focus has shifted from fame to legacy, it really makes you think, doesn't it? In a world that values systems, what kind of impact are you going to build?